A diver reaches into the pitch-black wreck of a sunken ship and something grabs his hand. He screams, because the man attached to that hand has been trapped at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean alive for 3 days. This is the story of Harrison Okene. And it's one of the most incredible survival stories ever recorded.
Harrison Okene was 29 years old. He worked as a cook on the Jaskin 4, a tugboat operating off the coast of Nigeria for a company called West African Ventures. The boat was small, 12 crew members total. And on the night of May 26, 2013, they were anchored in the Gulf of Guinea during what was supposed to be routine operations. Okene's shift didn't start for another 2 hours. He was in the bathroom. No shoes, no life jacket, no idea what was about to happen. At approximately 4:30 in the morning, a massive rogue swell slammed into the Jaskin 4. The boat didn't rock. It didn't tilt. It flipped, completely upside down. In a matter of seconds, the ocean poured in. Okene was thrown through the air inside the bathroom, slamming into walls that suddenly became floors. Quote, "Everything just went dark. I heard screaming. Then I heard nothing. The ship sank to the bottom of the ocean, settling about 100 feet below the surface. In complete darkness, chest deep in rising seawater, Okene felt his way through the capsized vessel. Ceilings were now floors. Doors were sideways. He crawled through corridors he'd walked 100 times before, but nothing was where it should be. He found a small engineer's cabin near the bow. And inside that cabin, he found something that would save his life. An air pocket. About 4 feet of breathable air trapped between the water and what used to be the floor. He climbed onto a platform and stood there. Alone, in the dark, with no food, no light, and no way to call for help. The water was freezing. The temperature inside the cabin had dropped to near hypothermic levels. And Okene could hear things. Metal creaking as the wreck shifted on the ocean floor. And worse, he could hear fish. Not swimming past. Feeding. On his crewmates. Quote, "I could hear them eating the bodies of the others. Right next to me." He spent 3 days standing in that water. 62 hours. He didn't sleep. He couldn't. Every time the ship groaned, he thought it was going to collapse on top of him. On the surface, things were worse than Okene knew. Rescue teams arrived within hours of the sinking. They pulled 4 bodies from the water. The remaining 7 crew members, including Okene, were declared missing, presumed dead. His wife, Akpavona, was told he was gone. She began planning his funeral. His mother collapsed when she heard the news. The search was officially called off. Nobody was coming back for Harrison Okene, because as far as the world was concerned, he was already dead.
But here's where the story becomes something else entirely. 62 hours after the ship went down, a team of South African saturation divers entered the wreck. They weren't looking for survivors. They were recovering bodies. Diver Nico van Heerden swam into the dark cabin and felt something grab his hand. He screamed into his helmet microphone. Quote, "He's alive. There is a survivor. He's alive." The entire moment was caught on the diver's helmet camera. In the footage, you can see Okene's hand reach out from the murky water toward the light. Van Heerden later said he almost had a heart attack. He thought he'd touched a corpse and it moved. Harrison Okene was brought to the surface and placed in a decompression chamber for 2 days. He survived with no permanent physical injuries. Against every logical explanation, a man with no training, no equipment, and no hope survived 3 days trapped at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean by breathing a pocket of air that should not have lasted that long. In an interview years later, he said one thing. Quote, "God kept me alive. And I will never step on a boat again." He kept that promise. Some stories don't need exaggeration. This one is exactly as incredible as it sounds. If this gave you chills, subscribe. I've got hundreds more just like it.